How did a set of seemingly simple photos ignite a global wave of attention, pulling in more than 18 million views in what felt like a blink? And why are so many people suddenly convinced that Lisa is stepping into a completely different league? Because this moment isn't just about visuals. It's about timing, control, and something far more powerful, perception, that IT started quietly. No explosive teaser, no dramatic countdown, no official comeback announcement. Just images. Clean, minimal, and almost understated at first glance. But within minutes, those same images began to circulate across platforms, moving from fan pages to global timelines, triggering reactions that felt unusually intense. People weren't just scrolling past them. They were stopping, looking closer, zooming in, reposting, questioning. And then the number started climbing: 0.1 million, 5 million, 10 million, and before anyone could fully process what was happening, the visuals had crossed over 18 million views. Not as part of a music release, not attached to a viral challenge, just photos. That's when the conversation changed. Because moments like this don't happen without a reason. Fans of BLACKPINK immediately noticed that something felt different. Not louder, not more extravagant, but more controlled, more intentional. The kind of shift that doesn't scream for attention, but commands it anyway. And that subtle difference is exactly what made the impact stronger. There's a certain power in restraint, and Lisa is using it. Instead of overwhelming the audience with layers of styling, the visuals strip everything down to essentials. Neutral tones, clean silhouettes, focused framing. Every detail feels deliberate, as if the goal isn't just to impress, but to redefine. This isn't about showing more. It's about revealing less and letting that absence speak louder. And that's where the real shift begins, because for years, Lisa has been known for explosive performances, high-energy choreography, and stage presence that dominates arenas. But this version is quieter, sharper, and in many ways, more dangerous. It doesn't ask for attention. It assumes the question naturally follows, why now? Why release visuals like this at a time when her global influence is already at its peak? The answer might lie in one word: LLOUD. More than just a name, LLOUD represents something Lisa has never fully had before: complete creative control. Not just over music, but over image, direction, and narrative. When an artist reaches that level of autonomy, the way they present themselves changes. It becomes less about fitting into expectations and more about shaping them. And that's exactly what we're seeing unfold. These photos aren't random. They're signals, early pieces of a larger puzzle that hasn't been fully revealed yet. And the audience can feel it. That's why the reaction isn't just admiration. It's curiosity, suspense, anticipation. People aren't just asking, do these look good? They're asking, what does this mean? Because if there's one pattern Lisa has established throughout her career, it's that nothing is accidental. Every move builds towards something bigger. Every release sets the stage for the next. And when something appears simple on the surface, it usually carries more weight underneath. This is where things get even more interesting. If you trace back her trajectory, moments like this have always preceded major shifts. When she debuted solo, expectations were already high, yet the outcome still shocked the industry. When she returned with new music, the numbers didn't just meet predictions, they surpassed them. Each time there was a build-up, a subtle change in tone before the explosion. And right now, that same pattern is forming again. But this time, it feels different, because this isn't just about music anymore. It's about identity. Lisa is no longer operating solely within the framework of a K-pop idol. She's expanding into fashion, stepping into acting, collaborating globally, and now, through LLOUD, constructing a platform that belongs entirely to her. That kind of evolution doesn't happen overnight. It's built through moments like this, moments that shift perception before the full transformation is revealed. And the audience is picking up on it. That's why engagement is so high. Not just because people like what they see, but because they sense that they're witnessing something in progress. Something unfinished. A transition rather than a final product. And transitions are always compelling. They create tension. They invite speculation. They keep people watching, waiting, trying to decode what comes next. When these visuals hit 18 million views, it wasn't just a reflection of popularity. It was a reflection of intrigue, because intrigue travels faster than hype, and Lisa understands that. Instead of giving everything away at once, she's creating space. Space for interpretation, for discussion, for anticipation. And in doing so, she's turning a single set of images into an ongoing conversation. That's strategy. And it's working. But here's where the story takes another turn. As the views continue to climb and reactions keep pouring in, a deeper realization starts to settle among fans and casual viewers alike. This isn't just a moment of virality. It's a repositioning. A shift in how Lisa is being seen on a global scale, not just as a performer, not just as a member of one of the biggest groups in the world, but as a creator, a brand, a force with the ability to shape her own narrative without relying on traditional structures. And that changes everything, because when control shifts, the possibilities expand. Now, every release carries a different kind of weight. Every visual, every appearance, every decision becomes part of a larger blueprint that only she fully understands. And the audience, whether they realize it or not, becomes part of that journey. Watching, interpreting, reacting, waiting. The real question isn't whether these photos deserved 18 million views. The real question is, what are they leading to? Because if history has proven anything, it's that Lisa doesn't move without purpose. And moments like this don't exist in isolation. They connect, they build, they point forward. And right now, everything is pointing towards something bigger, something that hasn't been fully revealed. As you look at these visuals, as you see the reactions, the numbers, the global attention, take a moment to think beyond the surface. Because this might not just be another viral moment, it might be the beginning of a completely new era. And if that's true, then what we're seeing right now is only the first signal. And just when it feels like the moment might slow down, something unexpected happens. The conversation doesn't fade. It grows. More people begin to revisit the visuals, noticing details they didn't catch the first time. The angles, the expressions, the stillness that somehow feels louder than movement. It creates a loop where the audience isn't just consuming the content once, but returning to it, trying to understand what exactly makes it so compelling. That's when you realize this isn't just viral, it's sticky, because most viral moments spike fast and disappear just as quickly. But this one is different. It holds attention. It invites interpretation. And in a digital world where people scroll endlessly, anything that makes them stop twice is already powerful. Anything that makes them stop 3 times, that's rare. And this is exactly where Lisa is operating right now, not in the space of temporary hype, but in the space of lasting impact. As more discussions unfold, fans begin to compare this era with everything that came before. The high-energy stages, the bold performances, the iconic looks, and now this. A quieter, sharper presence that feels more intentional than ever. It's not a replacement of her past identity, but an evolution of it. A version that carries everything she has built, but expresses it in a completely different language. And that evolution is what keeps people watching, because deep down, everyone senses that this isn't the final form. It's a transition, a setup, a carefully controlled beginning to something that hasn't fully revealed itself. While the numbers continue to rise and the reactions keep spreading across the world, one thing becomes clearer with every passing hour. This isn't just about 18 million views, but it's about what happens after.